Taco Tuesday. We are back to our regular scheduled day and time. Thanks for joining us for another great episode. This is episode number 62. So that means we have 38 more to go. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share the live and we get the story out of our guests tonight. What did y'all do today? I know I just seen y'all 24 hours ago. But what was y'all doing today? I see I have my girlfriend, Miss Tracy, is on the line. She's always the first tuned in. We appreciate it. We definitely appreciate that. Thank you for always supporting. And so I did do some research on who you were talking about yesterday, Tracy. And wow, she was definitely a pioneer in the community, and we love to honor those women. I didn't know who she was or anything. So yeah. Other than that, it's Tuesday. It is the 14th of October. Again, we'll announce this weekend is Baddest Bitch and GQ at large out in Tampa, Florida. For more information, you can contact Mulan, Montrese, and or Amari Lavish. Those are the owners. And our Jalen Bonet and Keziah Double D Dickerson. They will be relinquishing their titles. So here's supposed to be a good lineup. I will be in the Florida area again this weekend to perform and judge. So if you're in the building, come out. Somebody's on time. Yep. There go that light again.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
You're gonna be on time tonight because your guest is on tonight, baby. You the designer. You must want a suit.
Well, he's done things for me. I know. I mean, we're good.
No.
No.
Other
But
than that,
he is currently working on a project,
what is this project for?
a pageant,
What pageant is it?
Dots.
Oh, so you're doing Mr. Dots?
I am. I'm doing Diamond of the South,
That is when.
December the 12th. It's the day before King and Queen. So Friday, December the 12th in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay. So you're gonna go get another queen.
Um, I'm going to hopefully get me a crown, a title.
Okay.
Um,
Because you didn't want me to go anywhere and get another king, and
and
I
you
was
did
just
it, but you did it several times.
who did I go get another king with? I've never done it
Well, not
directly.
necessarily, not directly, but indirectly. Yeah,
No, that's not indirectly. Those are those people's king. I'm separate.
I don't know. But Ken Doll was kind of like your king. He low key, low key.
What you call him? The what? The what?
Duke, the
The
Duke.
Duke. Anyway, any
And
announcement?
Hassan is the prince.
And you're the king. Who's
Absolutely.
the? But you were going to be the emperor.
What's the emperor? Which one was emperor?
That's what you were going to be earlier this year.
Oh, Westland.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they didn't want an emperor.
Wrong. Any announcements on your end?
Yeah, next week we will be having the Texas Collective. We will be throwing Mr. and Miss Gay Texas US of A at large. So we have 14, 15 beautiful ladies competing for Miss Gay Texas US of A at large, and we have 18 males competing for Mr. Gay Texas US of A at large. It's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, October 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So if you're in Houston, Texas, make sure you stop by. And then on Sunday, we of course have the Texas All-Star Show at 2409 Grant Street, Play Houston. So it's going to be a busy weekend. And of course, this upcoming weekend is the Texas Southern University homecoming. The kickoff was on Sunday. I missed Sunday and Monday because I was busy with things with Impulse. But now I am all hands on deck. I am excited. I'm the program director for the National Alumni Association. And so we have some amazing things lined up for the alumni of Texas Southern University. So make sure if you're in town, stop by. On Saturday, we will have a culture cookout. It will be till 7 o'clock p.m. But we have the culture cookout where Impulse Group Houston hosts every year a safe space for LGBTQ plus students, community members, and staff to come and get free food and drinks all day long. Well, all day until 7 p.m.
So he keeps referencing 7 p.m. because Texas Southern University is on curfew due to everything that's going on with HBCUs and shootings and people mad are coming on campus, so they want to keep things safe. Fortunately for us, this past weekend here at Alabama Agriculture and Mechanical University, we didn't have a curfew because we know how to act civilized, and that does include the locals in the city. And so we were very secured. It was like TSA, so everything was able to run all week long until you just got tired. And we did win our school. Who you all playing?
I don't know.
Okay, well we did
I know,
win.
but we just played Grambling State for their homecoming and we beat them
Oh, well, we
at
celebrated
the homecoming
150.
ground.
We celebrated 150 years this past week, and so yeah, we had a great time. Now I'm interested to see what's going to happen down there at Southern. What's going to happen with y'all at? I wonder if
Yeah.
Danny is going to be at
Is Southern's
homecoming.
homecoming this week also?
Southern's homecoming this weekend as well. That's
Mm.
interesting
Well,
because, well, no, because she crabbed in 14, so she'll be fine. No, she crabbed in 13.
I don't know.
Yeah, so she'll be
I don't
fine.
know. But
I always
you
find
know
it
the thing
interesting
is,
when you are alum, especially an alum of that magnitude, where you were like the dog captain for 2 years. Do you go
yeah.
back or do you stick to your job currently where you are?
Yeah. Well, I think 2 years ago we had homecoming at the same week, yeah. And that was both schools anniversary, like 45th, Motion 45th and Southern, or 40th for Motion and Dolls. It was an anniversary. And I mean, of course she was with Motion because that's her job, so
All right. Well,
I don't
yeah.
know.
She
But
doesn't have an
but I do.
assistant.
No, not that I know of. But what I do know is that Texas Southern, we've never had any type of shooting or anything on campus. So it's like it's bittersweet because you do understand. Last weekend, unfortunately, and shot prayers going out to Alcorn State. The young man was unalived due to a shooting on campus during the homecoming festivities, and that is what triggered this. Prairie View A&M just announced maybe 2 hours ago that they are shutting their homecoming down next week at 8 o'clock p.m. So unfortunately, everyone is being proactive, and it's affecting homecoming because it's a very lucrative time for the campus because
Mhm.
it's a time where alumni come on campus to stimulate the financial growth of the campus. So it is a hurt, but you have to understand, you have to understand the times that we're in is very unfortunate. But TSU is very isolated. We're not in the country. We have our campus in the city, so it's easy to lock down the campus. So that's why a lot of us are upset because really all you need to do is beef up security because you can literally have checkpoints. Whereas at Prairie View, Grambling, Southern, Jackson, they're like in the country where you can like ease on campus any direction, but that's not the same at Texas Southern. So it's very unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. It's the cards that's been dealt.
Yeah, and before we bring on our guests, a couple of more announcements. Don't forget November the 3rd, which is the Monday after NBU. We have the Green Party with Flame Monroe over at Club Lips. Listen, so she just informed me earlier that it was only 170 people can get into the establishment, and 100, and I believe four of those tickets have already been sold. So
Mm.
170 minus 104. I was never the best in that subject. So what is that?
When is it?
The Monday afterward, after
I need to get
NBU.
my ticket. I'm going to be
Yeah,
there.
so you don't have to worry about missing the Monday night show with the new rulers because it's at 5. It's from 5 to 9, and then people will probably go grab something to eat and then run over there with the rulers, the new to usher in the new rulers. But the lineup is very great. It's myself, Saria Sinclair, Nicole Love Dupree, Doray Saunders, and Rico Chappelle. Those are the entertainment, and then they have the boys battle. I don't know what song they're going to be doing, but I believe it's Kendall, it's Jeremiah, Alphonse Dupree, and shoot,
For a battle? Who are the names again?
Kendall, Jeremiah Starr, Alphonse Dupree, and I can't remember the third one, if
What
there
is
is a
the
third.
battle for this one? Like, what is it?
I
If
don't know
it's
what song it is. She hasn't released the song yet. And then the
It's,
girls will be Amaya Glamazon, Deasia Cassadon, and Kamaya L'Oreal Times.
oh, well, 80% of that show is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, where's the 20% go not going? Well, I hope I'm in the 80. 'Cause, girl,
Or,
But yeah, so come out and support Flame. You don't have to wear green. However, it is a green party, so we love for people to stay in theme. But get your tickets on Eventbrite because those are the people that will get in first. If there are tickets
Do they have
available, you can.
tables? Are there
Yes,
tables? Like, could you buy? Okay, I need
I
to get.
think so. I don't know about the tables. I know you have to get tickets, but of course it's lit, so there are tables. But
Yes,
you don't want to miss that. And then y'all can head on over to the Heretics to support the MBU family as well as the Monday night show. And like I said, it
the
is
new
green.
rulers.
Huh? Yeah, the
The
new
new
rulers will be
rulers.
doing, and we have a special guest that night or that Tuesday night as well. As you can see, guys, we will be kind of doubling, maybe even tripling. Sometimes King may not be able to get on, so we can go ahead and get these remaining 38 out. We're not trying to rush anyone, but we just have so much other things going on in our personal lives that it has become a bit much. We love what we do, but when we've been doing it 2 years almost, and
Or
so
maybe pop ups. Pop ups
we
every
might, yeah,
once
we
in a
might do
while.
pop-ups here and there and stuff like that, but consecutively for every Tuesday, it has been a great pleasure to come into your homes and phones or whatever. But I believe that 100 entertainers as well as people in the community telling their stories, good, bad, and indifferent, things that every week we learn something new about someone. And so when we did create this, we did start off as entertainers, but we had to kind of pivot because we don't get to talk to the people behind the scenes of those entertainers, i.e., our guests tonight. It made no sense not to have the greatest, one of the greatest designers that has been around for a while, and whose garments hit the stage at every national pageant and
Mhm.
non-national pageant and wins. He's been behind some of our legends and icons that we've had on, and so his story definitely deserves to be told. So without further ado, we're going to bring on the man himself, Julian
Comfortable.
Jackson.
Comfortable.
Yes, that. Hi. Hi. Kate.
Take the mute off. Take the mute off.
Okay. It's off
There you
now.
go.
Okay,
Good.
how are you?
I'm fine. How are you all this evening?
I love that color.
Thank you. I did too. That's why I bought it.
You look vibrant.
You look
Thank you.
very
I
right.
appreciate that. Thank you all for having me.
No problem. Julian, we definitely wanted to bring you on. Like I said a few minutes ago, it's so important to hear the stories from the people that create the legends and icons. And so, you being a designer, designs by Julian, your garments always hitting the stage and winning. Let's be very clear. It's important just to hear your story, where you came from, and a little insight on how it goes about, what happens, because I've never worked with you, but
Right.
how it goes about with the Julian designs and stuff like that. And so we had to bring you on before we ended this series. So thank you for joining us for this next hour and giving us a little bit of your time.
Thank you. I
No,
appreciate it.
no problem. So Wendell's going to go ahead and get started,
Oops.
and we'll go from there. Go ahead.
Was that someone's doorbell?
No, actually, that's my notification for my prayer, but I
Oh,
needed to turn it off. It comes on
oh,
at 8, but it's
Okay.
so we
okay.
got in the way of the prayer.
No, you can't never get away with that. He's
I
on the
understand.
main line. He's on the main line.
Okay, so Julie, let's just jump in. Of course, we always ask the start of the question is always what is the high and the low of your day. So, what was your highest moment and the lowest moment today?
Today or
Today,
of the day?
well, of the week so
Of
far
the
this
week.
week. What has been your high and your low?
Well, actually, I'm recovering from some kind of bug, so I've had it for the last week. So,
Mm.
but we're coming out of it now. So that was pretty low. And for me, my high is always waking up. You know, from that point, you just have to deal with what is presented to you in that day. But be grateful that you're able to deal with it. You got breath in your body to deal with it. So
Yeah.
that's me. So that's how it works for me. Just give it to me, Lord, and I'm gonna move forward with it.
And we definitely want to dive into your spirituality a little later because I know that that is a huge part of who you are. But just off the rip, we know that you are this great designer, seamstress, tailor, all of those things. But how was your upbringing? Where are you from initially, or are you from there? And how
Yeah.
was your academic life, your education as a child growing up?
I am from Norfolk, Virginia, which is I live in Virginia Beach now, but I'm from Norfolk, which is right next door. They butt each other. And it was I had a wonderful childhood. Was blessed to have had both parents in our home, in my home, and never had any desire, never lacked anything. You know, of course, when you're growing up, you just think that that's the way it is, but you don't realize that that's not necessarily the way it is, because you have friends and you go to their homes and you see a different family, you know, setting. So, never had any drama, never was any trouble to any of my parents, either my parents. And I'm one of four boys, and we were all stair steps. So you can probably imagine we fought all the time, and it was that kind of a thing. We were just, it was just the basics of growing up. Of course, you know, education, schooling was never an issue for me. It was for some of my siblings, but it wasn't for me. I loved school and loved reading and just those kinds of things. And went on to college, Norfolk State, Green and
Okay.
Gold, Behold. Uh, did all the college things, pledged Alpha, and
Never knew that.
you know, graduated and went into corporate America as a clothing buyer. And that's where I cut my teeth as far as this where I am now. So that's how
So you
that.
said there's four of you. Where did you fall in that four? What
Number three. I'm number
number
three.
three?
As
So
they would
you
say,
kind of the
they call it the
baby.
knee baby.
Yeah,
Is
you
that
were
what
right
they
there.
call it? Huh?
Yeah, yeah. So you
Okay.
were still the baby.
Right. No, I was called the knee baby. That's what it was.
So
You know,
what is the new baby?
a knee baby is, from what I was told, is that while mama is rocking the youngest baby, the one next to that
Mhm.
is sitting on her knee and she's patting that one. That's just, I think that's one of those African American things, you
But I
know.
get it makes sense though, because you were
Yeah,
still, especially with stair steppers, so you were still
yeah,
a
yeah,
baby kind of.
yeah. 1 and 2 years apart with all of us. So
So we know what you do. So when you were in elementary school, like when you were first starting, did you already have this niche for fashion, or did you have an eye for color blocking or anything like
right.
that when you were just already in elementary?
Actually we sort of, my family was one of those fashionable families, so to speak. We didn't know it, you know. We just knew that there was always something new. Mama always bought us something new, and this had to match, and you couldn't do this. And you had your school clothes, you had your church clothes, you had your play clothes. So I guess it was sort of being built in,
Hmm.
you know. So you know, when the time came, it was just automatic. It was just there. It wasn't something that was foreign. It was just built in, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think the book, she bit us with that book because she was very fashionable, you know. So I
So
remember
it
one.
came easy.
Huh?
Kind of came easy.
It kind of came easy. I remember one, although we never had a sister, but she used to always tell us when we didn't necessarily like what we were getting. You know, I don't like that color, this, that, or this. So you ain't gonna like everything. She says, do you think that a woman walks around in 6-inch heel shoes because she likes it? Then, you know, we didn't get it. No. She said, no, but it looks good. So put it on and get up out of here. So that's what that was.
So with the way you were raised, you had three other brothers. You
Right.
was slightly in the middle, slightly at the end.
Right.
So when did you, or how did you walk into your sexuality? As far as you like clothing, you like this. You had all brothers. How was that? Was that a hard moment for you? Like, did you have a wrestling mentally with that?
Well, you're making an assumption there, right?
Well, well, I'll put it like this. Did people assume that you were a certain way because you were already into fashion?
No, it did. No, they did. Because at that particular time, I dated the opposite sex, and and I played sports in and in junior high school. So that wasn't an issue. I never had that as a issue for me. Although, you know, you hear the stories, you haven't gone to college. When I first decided to date within my own gender, it was
Mhm.
once I was finishing college.
So you were an adult at that time.
Oh yeah, I was an adult.
You
Although
was young.
you know things and you feel things,
Yeah.
but you just don't act on things and do things. So that's how that went.
So at what point did you start taking fashion a little more serious?
Well, I was always in it because I told you once I was a junior in college, I was an assistant clothing buyer. And then that moved on to being a buyer. So therefore the bug of being in fashion was one thing. We would travel back and forth to New York and to Vegas, to the Jacob Javits Center and to the trade shows in Vegas. But the wherein I decided to formulate and get into the actual construction of clothing was when we would go to the shows, we had to know construction as a buyer, how things were put together so that you would know what was quality and what wasn't quality. So I had to take this one course in college. And from that one course, the instructor said, most people, especially men, don't like sewing. And for just the type of personality that I had, it was on one day you put a sleeve on one day you put a collar on, and on one day you do something else. Well, before the end of the week, I had finished it. I just needed to know what it was going to look like at the end of the road. And then it just kind of moved on into, I think this might be something, and here we are today.
So not only was fashion something that came easy, but sewing sounds like it came kind of easy to you also. So you
Yeah. It was, when you have that kind of spirit of, I need to see what this is going to be at the end. I need to go ahead and see what this is going to be, whether it was whatever it was, cooking or sewing or whatever. I need to get to the end of this so I can kind of move on. And, I guess it was in the right space. And that's what happens.
Yeah, we have in the community we've had some amazing seamsters, some amazing tailors, right? But
Right.
we all know that everyone, like in Houston, for example, one of our go-to is Miss Tony's Designs. But she's
Right.
not a designer, right?
Right.
She will make exactly what you bring her, but she can't
Right.
come up with nothing. So
Right.
there's very few of you that actually have an eye for it. You can look at it, say exactly what fabric, da da da. So I think that's a unique skill that a few of you share. So I
Right.
wonder, did you find that to be a little more demanding than just the simple tailoring? Or is that something that also you just like doing? It was just enjoyable to you.
Well, it depends because sometimes it can be a challenge. Just like a writer gets writer's block.
Right.
Sometimes you get to a place, and especially if you have a client that you work with all the time, and you always want to do something different than they already have, especially when they leave it up to you. Sometimes it's like, I prefer, tell me what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And we can round table and possibly tweak it or do whatever. But sometimes the greatest challenge comes in, oh, just do what you want to do. Oh my God, don't tell me. Give me something to go on. Because it kind of puts me in a box and I need to have some direction. And especially when you're dealing with multiple people. You're dealing with multiple people that sometimes are in the same arena. So you have to make sure that things don't overlap.
Mm-hmm.
That it has the whole point of them coming to you is for something unique. It doesn't have to be out the park, but it needs to be different from that person and needs to be different. And especially when you have people that are competing in the same contest, that
Mm.
even becomes even a greater challenge, you
I'm
know.
sure, I'm
So
sure that's a headache.
yeah, it can be. It can be. It can be. It can. It's a challenge. More so, I see it as a challenge. But that's what makes you. That's the drive that you need to keep going. Because right now, I just can't wait until NBU is over.
I know that's right.
Me
I,
neither.
I have a question for you. I'm going back to your upbringing. Because you were the fashion one and you come from a fashion home, did you ever find yourself saying, uh-uh? y'all not gonna wear that. Let's change this. Did you ever were you designated as that person?
No, because we all were.
Okay. Okay.
We all and you know when having had a now see, and this all comes from my mom. My dad was a country boy. He didn't care about none of that stuff.
Okay.
My mom was a city girl, and you know,
Okay.
my with us being a year, 2 year apart, my dad couldn't find a reason why. Well, can't you just pass this down to, you know, when he outgrows it, can you pass it to him? And my mom, it was like you had cursed Jesus when you told her that, when he asked her that. I said, no, we can't do that. So, but we all were just not even realizing or recognizing that you were sort of kind of being trained for having an eye for fashion or clothing. This goes with this. You don't wear this with that. You do this with this. And then after, you know, you became of a certain age, you were able to kind of, you know, recognize it and know what went with what based on, you know, whatever knowledge that you had about it. So
Think back to your prom night. Did you have a different tux than all the rest of the guys, or
no,
did you traditional?
nope, very basic.
Okay.
It was never a thing of being, you know, it was never a thing of being different.
Mhm.
Because it was never like loud. It was just recognizing what was right.
Mhm.
And more importantly, I'll never forget, one of the more important things that my parents always taught us, that you have to buy quality.
Mm.
It wasn't about, you know, getting it because it looked good. If it wasn't of a certain standard, my mom won't have it. You know, and you know, while you in it, you know, it was sometimes perceived as being snooty and snobbish or this or that, but
Mhm.
she just wanted the best for her children.
Right. Right.
You
I think
know,
Understand?
that's a blessing. Like I think that it it shows that your core was already into the details. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like you kind of started in the details. So that's
yeah,
why you are so detailed today, is
yeah.
because that's where it started.
You are 1,000% correct, because it had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it just wasn't. What are some things that you do? I personally believe that some things are gifts. I just think
Mm.
that some things are, you know, you are teachable things, and some things are just built in. You know,
Mhm.
you don't have to kind of, you know, style and fashion is all an individual thing.
Hmm.
What's stylish and fashionable to me may not be for you. You know, that's why the runways show everything from, now who would wear that to, you know, minimalist.
Yeah.
So you just have to, you know, you just have to know that this is my style and this is how I work,
Mhm.
and appreciate folks for their point of view and how they present whatever it is that they present. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
Right.
So let's shift away from fashion for a second.
right? Okay,
So, of course, we like to make sure that we get to know you on a different level, more personal, right?
right.
So, I want to ask you a few questions that are just kind of taboo, but you know, so what, right?
Amen.
So,
That
what is
okay.
your favorite thing to eat? Like, what is your comfort food?
I love Chinese food.
Chinese food.
I love Chinese food because I'm a saucy rice kind of person,
Mm,
and I love that. And actually, I'm not a picky eater at all. I will try anything. I would try it. There's nothing to say I don't want it, even if it doesn't necessarily look appealing, because I know that that's the big one of the biggest myths around, that just because it don't look good, that don't mean it ain't good.
right.
You know, we already know that. You know, especially if you come from the South and you cook the way the Southerners cook, half of it don't look good. But you know, grandmama and big mama them did what they had to do, and it's, I need you just to taste it, and you know,
Right.
you
Are
might
you a
taste it soon.
cook? Do
I
you
am.
cook?
I do.
What do you like? What do you enjoy cooking? Like, if you had to say what your favorite meal is, what is your favorite meal?
Smothered pork chops, mac and cheese, and collard greens.
But do you
Basic
know what you're
stuff.
doing? Do you know what you're doing?
Man, please. No, do I know how to sew?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, well there you
okay.
go. There go your answer. There you go.
You know that mac and cheese be, some
I,
people be tricking me up with that because they'll say, "Oh, one of my favorites is mac and cheese." I'm like, that ain't good.
let me
Your
tell
mac and
you
cheese ain't
something.
right.
I was speaking of mom. She would say the identifying marks to a great cook is how they make mac and cheese and potato salad.
Absolutely.
Those are the two hallmarks of defining, are you a good cook? Everybody can fry chicken, but can you make good macaroni and cheese and or potato salad? That was always her standard because she
Yeah.
was a cook too.
Okay.
I mean,
So
I agree with Mama because you can make one wrong move in potato salad or mac and cheese, and it's disgusting.
and it's done, and it's done. And plus, people make it differently from regions of where they grew up or where what was passed down to them from family recipes, this, that, and the third. Some people use the mustard, some people use eggs, some people don't use onion, some people use peppers. So it varies. It varies. But but that was always her thing. That's the sign of a good cook. Macaroni and cheese, potato salad.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you your favorite color, but I have two parts to it. I want to know what is your overall favorite color, but then I want to know what is your favorite color on you.
Black. Black and navy blue, dark, basic. And then
You like
behind that,
dark colors on you.
just because I think that those colors are so easily interchangeable,
Yeah.
and it can, it kind of works in all environments and all different events, from funerals to weddings to graduations to whatever. And you can always add color to those particular colors to kind of, work with whatever the occasion is. So, but those just black and navy blue, you can't go wrong with it. Those are my favorites.
What is something that happens that simply just puts a smile on your face?
Waking up, and I
It
know
just
that sounds
enjoyable.
kind of, I know that
No.
sounds kind of, but now once I wake up, it's about the people that I know and love and respect. I like to just see people happy.
Okay.
We in some crazy times.
Yeah.
We are in some times that are so against us. There's layers to it. It's us because of your skin tone. It's us because of your sexuality. It's us because it's just us. It's just us against the world. And I think that if you can just, during my consultations and things, when people come and we sit down and we talk, 9 times out of 10, it's going to deviate from the purpose, the reasoning why you're here, because it's about why you're here. I know, you're kind of doing the path and you kind of get a gauge. It's almost like you sit in your hairstylist chair and then you become a therapist or you become a listening ear or whatever. But as long as what makes me happy is seeing other people happy. I know that sounds so cliche-ish, but it's the truth for me.
That's your truth, bro.
It's my truth. It's the truth for me. And, because, unfortunately, we can't read people's minds. And sometimes one word can really set somebody off.
Yeah.
And sometimes one word can really make a difference in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my anthem. Well, you watch what you say because you never know how it can affect people.
So that leads to the next question. I think I may know a ballpark of where you're going to go with it, but what pisses you off today? What upsets you in this climate?
Mm. Mm. In this climate or just overall?
Overall, let's say overall. Let's broaden.
I don't like. Mm. What pisses me off? I'm trying to narrow this thing down.
Is that many?
But
What
to
is
the
your
thing that
top
pisses me
two?
off the most, I don't like bullies. Bullies piss me off. I don't like liars. That piss me off. And it's sort of kind of the same thing because I think that whoever you are, whatever you do, appreciate who you are and what you do. And you don't have to ever dim somebody else's light to make yours shine.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that because we all have something to offer. And it's crazy that sometimes we hear stories about people who, you make a conscious decision when you decide to be, mean and rude and nasty and ugly to somebody, because you don't have to do that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because before you do that, just don't do anything. Just walk away. But if your input into a situation is to make it worse, and sometimes you have to sit back and say, what can I do to make this better?
Mhm.
You know, and sometimes you may not come up with an answer. And if you don't come up with an answer, just don't engage or indulge. Just walk away. Maybe by the time you go to sleep, you know, tomorrow you'll have something to say. But that kind of pisses me off. That's just about life in general. And people who ain't woke, that really pisses me off. But that may be, we may be here till tomorrow morning talking
Well,
about.
we're going to talk about that
Okay.
because my next thing that I was curious about. Well, I'm curious to hear from you on is what is some advice, because I know that you do lean into your spirituality a lot.
Mhm.
And I know that right now it's a lot of trying times for a lot of people for a
Absolutely.
lot of different reasons. And like you said, it's a lot of times it feels like us versus them.
Yeah.
Define us how you want, define them as you want, but it's us
Right.
versus them.
Right.
So, what is some advice that you would give to someone younger than you that you think is troubled because of these times of the us and thems, the isms? What is some advice you would give them on how you cope? What do you lean
Yeah.
into to cope with it today?
Right. That's you know, uh we all have a sense of a relationship with a higher power. Well, I won't say we all. And I think sometimes where people uh we can fall short is, especially if you do have some spirituality, is not recognizing that we all aren't cut from the same cloth. And you have to meet people where they are.
Yes.
Because if you are able to have an opinion about anything, what makes your opinion and point of view more valid or just than somebody else's? Somebody else may not be, although I'm a Christian person, I'm a Christian person, but that does not mean that I have the right to look at someone else differently, because you don't know how they were raised and what troubles and things and that they're going through, or what life is serving them.
Mhm.
So I think that's where we fall short sometimes, is that our version or what I say or what I know and my life experience is applicable to somebody else. That's probably the biggest mistake that you could possibly make uh, in general, because we aren't all cut from the same cloth. I think when you uh, for the most part, one of the best pieces of advice I can give to people that has worked for me, and I'd say it to my children, sometimes you have to close your mouth and open your ears, because God gave you two ears for a reason and one mouth for a reason. You're supposed to talk, you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. And I think that just kind of, that just helps, period. And just recognizing that we all have a story. My story may not be like your story. It may not, we may all be in the same part, but how I got in the part may be different from how you got in the part, and how I plan on getting out the part may be different how you want to get out this part. But we
Mhm.
all kind of striving for the same thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that's it's just general. Just kind of be decent to folks, and I promise you, it'll come back to you. It'll come back to you. That I do know. Now when it's gonna come, I don't know.
Right. But it's gonna come.
But it's gonna come.
It's gonna.
It's gonna
I
come.
thought about when you were talking. I thought about my kindergarten teacher. When we would get to the door, she had a sign that says "Stop," and before you enter, you had to say "Stop." And then
Yeah.
when you walk through the door, it had a sign that says "Look," and we have to look at the board and say "Look" to
Okay.
see what the directions are. And then we
Okay.
make it to our seat. It said "Listen," and that's how we knew to sit at the table, sit at our desk, and listen. So it was stop, look, and listen every day. And
Right.
before anything, stop, read the board, and
Right.
sit down and listen.
Right.
So that is important. Sometimes you have to shut up, be silent to learn.
Yeah, yeah, and I guarantee, and that I'm pretty sure she got that from somebody. And you ain't
Mhm.
been in kindergarten in a long time, so I know you still apply that to your life right there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just saying there's some things that we were Trinity. What's funny, Trinity?
It's been about 16 years.
16 years.
So, but it's just some things that are just go, that's just so basic, that we can apply in life lessons that
Yeah.
even as and you're gonna pass this on to whomever you're gonna pass it on to, and so forth and so on, because it's just such a basic, it sounds cliche-ish, but it's really kind of a basic rule for living, in life.
I have a question. Because you're so fashionable, in your opinion,
Mhm.
what decade had the best fashions?
Mm. Oh, I would probably say I'm kind of look at it the 70s.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
say that because we were culturally proud, and it was a era wherein individuality was kind of key. We were wearing things that were kind of androgynous, kind of,
Yeah.
like, so it was about being free. It was about being proud. I just can't get away from, my life, say loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That's first and foremost with anything.
Okay.
And I think that was so applicable in that era. And we showed it through voice, clothing, music, religion. It kind of revealed itself throughout our entire lives.
Okay.
So
So
we
that,
we are going to get into freedom and I want to talk about freedom and fashion in each decade, but I wanted to do that after the game. So I don't. I'm glad you answered, but I don't want to get too deep because I want to actually go from the 50s on and see how did the fashion evolve with
who was
politics and
born
with
in the 50s?
huh? That's why I wanted to ask you. That's why I said freedom through fashion. I wanted to see if fashion was evolving with the times. Because in the 50s it was kind of like mute. So was
Right.
it still mute as far as culturally? So that's gonna be after the game. That's why I said I wanted to get into that after
Okay.
the game. So we played name and claim it halfway through. So it is a
Okay.
halfway mark. So in name and claim it, we're gonna ask you 10 questions
Okay.
and you give us the first thing that comes to mind. But of course, it's okay to elaborate if you choose to. If you choose
Okay.
to just give one word, we can roll with that.
Okay.
Okay. So I did reach out and get a few things. So the first one is kind of Jeopardy like. So I wanted to start off with something fun.
Okay.
This is a person that you sew for often. Well, I would say often.
Okay.
The question he wants you to guess his name. What male lead has the smallest waistline that you've worked with?
You got to be talking about Tarico.
Yes.
You got to be talking about Tarico. Now, it ain't as small as it was when I first met him,
Ooh,
but it's still tiny. It's still tiny.
for you to know exactly, that means he must brag about it all the time. Like,
But yeah, it was, yeah, that's the thing. And believe it or not, there's some that are much bigger who claim that they are the smallest. But I just let you. I meet you where you are. You know what? If you want to believe that, go with that. That'll work. Just go
so
with that.
the next name is Roger Williams.
Oh my God! Everybody does. Is it a one word or just
You can elaborate. Feel comfortable.
everybody should have a Roger Williams in their life. Everybody should have a Roger Williams. There's not. Uh, you just kind of it. Everybody should have a Roger Williams. There's very seldom, especially if you come from a place wherein, based on the business, you never know what people's intentions are. I don't know if you all have anybody in your lives within meeting them, you knew that person was going to be in your life and for a very, very, very long time, and who you trust with everything. And I'm before my biological brothers, and I know they'd be mad. but that's Roger to me. That's Roger
It's
to
amazing.
me. Yeah, everybody should have a Roger. Just think about whoever your best friend is, who you trust, with no boundaries, no guardrails, and multiply it times 10. That's Roger. That's right.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay. The Lady Marissa.
Okay. She's almost like the female version of Roger. She's the female version of Roger. We talk, you know, uh, when you don't surround yourself with a lot of people, because again, I told you it ain't about the quantity, it's about quality of people. And that's she has impacted me in my life in so many different ways, just like Roger. And it's about, I know a lot of times in our community, we have labels as far as uncle, aunt, brother, sister, all that kind of stuff. And a label, I mean, you could peel a label off a can. What does it? If you peel the label off, you don't know what's inside of it.
Mm.
So it's about what uh, I didn't think it was going to go here. Those two people are very uh, influential in my life. Very influential in my life. And I would trust them with anything. I would trust them with anything. And I'm not a trusting person. So,
I think that's amazing. I
yeah,
mean, people can bring you peace, and so
absolutely.
just by your response, I know that they both bring you peace. So
That's a perfect description. That's and I'm a big advocate of protecting my peace, and people should be protecting their peace, because you can't, if you're not a best that you can possibly be in that moment, then it's kind of, you kind of spinning the block for no reason. So, but yeah, I wonder where you got those. That's interesting that you pulled those two names. I wasn't expecting that one day.
the next one is Marco Freeman.
uh, I love Marco. That's one of my favorite children. It's one of my favorite children. I've known him for a very, very long time. I knew that when I met him at Continental, because I was selling some extra tickets that I had, and he hit me up online and said, I want to buy them. Met them, and from that day, what was it, 15 years ago, we have been connected. We have been connected. As a matter of fact, he just had a layover here, and we went out to dinner the other week or so. But he's one of my favorite peoples too. One of my favorite peoples. He a headache, but I love him.
Most of our favorite people can be headaches.
Absolutely. And guess what? For them to be a headache only means that it's not a bad thing, because we don't invest and engage in things that don't matter. Well, I know I don't. That don't matter to you.
Yeah,
So if you get that label, we good.
trust me, I understand.
Absolutely, we better than good.
I
Yeah.
say to myself all the time, when Trinity and I fall out, in 24 hours, I'm like, let me just send her a text.
Because
Right.
Julian, hold on. You have to understand it's half the time he's done something. So
Right.
Okay.
I couldn't even imagine that it was something that you did, Trinity.
Exactly.
I
That
couldn't
has to be
imagine.
hard to believe.
I cannot imagine that. I can't
But
imagine.
enough novelty. Back to the
Okay.
questions.
Okay. Back to the questions.
So this one kind of caught me off guard. So hopefully you can elaborate and help with this.
Okay.
Pensacola, Florida.
Oh wow. It's sort of bittersweet, because the first time I went to Pensacola, someone hired me to come down and to sew for them, and I did some things for them, and that was cool. The next time I had to go to Pensacola, it was when I buried one of my children. And so it was sort of my introduction. Now, of course, Marco is from Pensacola. So that's, it's sort of bittersweet. I got to get back down. Actually, one of my friends hit me up and said, you should come back down to Pensacola. So I'm trying to figure out how were you a fly on the wall with some of these things, because these things are kind of hitting home, Window.
I mean, just doing due diligence.
We do our research around
I
here.
can see now. This ain't no joke. I see. But yeah, that was it was sort of bittersweet, but yeah.
So this next person is someone that introduced the Julian to me, because anytime I would ask him, who made that? Who made that? Where you get that from? He would always
Okay.
say Julian.
Okay.
So
I know who you're talking
Lavelle
about.
Babyface Houston.
You know what's crazy? Lavelle was just here yesterday. He was here getting fitted for something yesterday. And I have from the day of his first pageant, you know, there's so many that I have been blessed and fortunate enough to, from their first day and stepping on the stage, having been a part of their journey in pageantry, you know, and it has definitely been a blessing. It's been a blessing. But we have been friends for a very long time. And yeah, we've been friends for a long time. And I know his family and have been a part of his life outside of pageantry. I know his mom, and you know, we've been genuine friends. We've been friends, and we've got to bump heads every now and then. Bump heads in that bit difference of opinions about something. But the one thing we can do is when that happens, you know, we just walk away and the next thing comes up. Okay, well, this is what I need you to make me. And we, you know, it is what it is. So, but yeah, we've been, and I appreciate his friendship.
Yeah, I can tell you, rummaging through his closets and his drag rooms,
Right.
it's almost like you're going through you're at Nike going through Nike stuff, because it's like every tag.
Yeah.
Every tag is Julian.
Yeah, we work good together. But again, we're friends, you know.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that, you know, our friends don't.
Yeah. Friends are friends.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My other son is over there and he's distracting me. But
is that your other favorite son?
The one that told you he was the favorite who set all this up? Absolutely.
That's why when you said that someone else was one of my favorite sons, I was like, oh.
That's right. Him, Marco and Jamar.
Marco and Jamar.
That's right. Right.
Well, thank you, Jamar, for helping him. The seventh question, the seventh thing is your first time sewing for a pageant. What were your thoughts?
Oh, wow. The first time I sewed for a pageant, I'll never forget this. And Joe Jackson, God rest his soul. Joe Jackson came into Virginia, and they wanted to set up a MBU prelim. So they asked the question, who's around here running, who does pageants, and the two people that that were in the pageant, actually one, God rest their souls, they've gone on. So he said, who sews around here? And it was Julian sews, but many people didn't know that. I only had two outside of our community clients. Well, anyway, sold for them. They went on to nationals, did well. That's when I was introduced to MBU. Pageantry in general, because no one knew who, you know, I was just doing this thing back at home, working in corporate America and what have you. And that's when it actually all happened. And I think it was the year Actually, Calvin Sinclair was. It was when Spanky won.
Oh,
Spanky won. That's how far back it goes. And so when they saw
I'm like
what
year
it
two.
was that I put on stage, not knowing what pageantry required, I just kind of sold what I thought looked nice.
wait. You said Spanky?
That was like year two, wasn't it?
That was Julie. You've been around.
Yes, that was year two.
That was my first year in pageantry. And once they saw, yeah, it's been 30
Wow.
plus years, Trinity. It's been 30 plus.
Wow.
I did not know that. I met you in like '08 or something like that. So I
Right,
didn't know that you see, this is why you are
right.
That was
supposed
like
to be here.
that was year
Yeah.
two or three.
Wow.
Spanky
Now,
was like the second.
Wendell, it won't that long ago.
Well, I mean, but I guess what I'm like feeling energized by is it's kind of like you helped shape
Yes.
the
I,
category
The
for the
category. Now that you think
well,
about it.
well, but at that time I did not, I was like, well, this is just what I like. And then at that particular point, as the years, I guess the powers that be kind of liked it and appreciated it. And, that's when I met Archie and
Oh,
uh,
wow.
Ron and those people. And then at that particular point, it just, as the years kind of went by, it was, this is where you go, this is what you do, all
yeah,
to the point wherein I kind of, uh, I actually kind of left my job, my
Mhm.
secure job, because this was the thing, and I had to kind of step out on faith, and it kind of worked. But yeah, because Trinity Roger was the person who introduced me to you,
Right.
and
Wow.
but yeah, it's been 30 plus.
yeah. You
It's
definitely
been
helped
30 plus.
shape the
You definitely shaped
categories.
that category. If anything,
Yeah,
definitely sportswear. That's no
definitely,
doubt.
especially
Oh
being
Yeah, it
wow.
around
has.
that long.
Yeah, it has changed.
That's amazing, but you changed with it. So that's Barack Obama said in his memoirs that the funny thing about history is that you're not aware that you're writing it until you're dead, right?
Until you dead.
So
Until you
until you're
dead.
dead. So
Absolutely.
that's the thing about history. Like we forget that in 20 years there will be a world that will remember what we did today.
Absolutely. Right.
So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. That's something to be applauded on. Like
Well, I
honestly.
I appreciate that, and I can say this because sometimes with some of the people that especially involved in pageantry, and sometimes the people that are behind the scenes, sometimes you get attitudes and different kind of personalities and all that kind of stuff. I can honestly say the pageant. I am so appreciative and so grateful because I know that where I am is because of so many people that have allowed me to be a part of what they do, how they've gotten to where they've gotten to. I couldn't do it all by myself.
Yeah.
Uh, but I am very much appreciative because it's people, it's the industry. Although I do have clients that are not, this is a great part of my business. Uh, but I am very grateful. And to see some of the people that have been that I've been a part of their life and their growth, and just to see people come back and come back and come back. But I think it's easy. My bottom line, when you just do right by folk, or at least make an attempt to
Yeah.
do right by folk, the rest of it is easy.
Right.
Absolutely.
The
Okay.
rest
Absolutely.
of it
But
is easy.
yeah, it's amazing though because you're so demure, and I don't mean that in the hocus pocus way they use it now, but you're actually demure because the reality that you were doing, you started off at MBU the year Spanky won, and yet now you are still a sought after designer.
Yeah.
That is 3 decades of you
Yeah.
being someone that people trust
Yeah.
to keep them with the trend.
I get it.
You
Yeah.
know, that is amazing. So, you have the Karl Lagerfelds that can be trendy, but they still fix it and
Right.
they, keep it going. And
Right.
that's what you've been able to do. You're like dandyism and everything else. Like I think we have to start saluting y'all and we have to start like really celebrating that because that is amazing. There are people coming to you now that wasn't born when you started. Like
I
that's
know.
just true.
I know. I know. I know.
I'm not trying to, but I mean it in a
But
I mean, it's a celebration.
right. But and it's it kind of it puts me in an emotional place, but it's never, even when things hit the stage, when folks say, you want to come and you kind of see your stuff. Well, that's a beautiful thing, but the blessing for me is when people come here, because people come from states. I had one of the greatest. There's been two instances that have happened in years that I would never forget, and I told both of them, "You're a better person than me, because I would not have done it if I was in your shoes. I just may not have had the grip." I've had someone to drive from Texas. That was a 3-day trip. And then I had someone to drive from New Orleans. And that just speaks, when I think about it, it just puts me in this place of, it just puts me in a place. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it right now online, because y'all don't know y'all like that. I'll do that around Roger. He gets it. But I am only here because of the people that have allowed me to be here.
Amen.
That's why
I'm gonna just put this out there that there needs to be a Julian Jackson Best Sportswear Award somewhere soon. I mean,
well,
come
I
on,
agree.
y'all. Like,
I
well,
agree.
come on. Like,
well,
we do it to a girl if she's known for beautiful gowns. She didn't make them, but we'll still name best gown after her. So I mean, yeah, like, come on, 3
How many more you
decades.
got? How many
but
more
you
you
know
got,
what?
King?
That's a beautiful thing. But you know what? I get my flowers when people actually come here, and they, when they actually commission me to do something. That's flowers for me.
Yeah.
That's those are my flowers. I know some people translate it to, well, you make your money.
That's
It's
work.
not even about money,
Yeah.
because money comes and goes. Your relationships that you build and your memories that you create with people, in my opinion, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Because
And
you'll
you're
forget
truly an artist.
you'll forget how much money you made or what something costs. That's not important. Not to me. Now, what I think may not apply to anybody else. May not apply. I can only speak for me. But the more important things is, if you do it right, if you don't disrespect people, if you don't respect people to the sense that they had enough respect for you to buy a plane ticket, to get on a plane and get a rental car and actually come to you and don't take their money. I hate that some of the stories that you hear in our industry, I hate it, because you want to support your own, but sometimes being Black ain't enough.
Yeah.
You got to do that. Ain't enough. That'll get me
Put
to
that
knock
on the
on your
shirt.
door. That'll get me to knock on your door.
Yeah.
But you got to do something when I get inside. And I hate that I'm always us, but there's room for better.
Yeah.
There's room for better. And I've even had folk I would love to be able to mentor, bring folks on, because I've had people to say, well, I want to learn how this, that, and the third. But this is there's a journey from having a stack of fabric to a finished garment. And I know a lot of people get caught up in the finished product, but there's some steps you got to get to that. Mm-hmm. And, I don't care how pretty something looks. If it don't fit, I mean, it looks pretty, especially since we're judging.
Yeah.
Since we're judging, there's a lot of there's a lot of check off you got to take in.
Yeah.
Handle. So
yeah.
it's not. It's getting to that finished part, and sometimes people who look at just the end result, they don't want to go on that journey. Mm-hmm. I need you to know how to sew on buttons. I need you to know how to sew on a snap. What's the proper this, that, that? Oh, I don't know how to do that. Well, I'm not going to waste my time with you. And I would love to, because I can't take this with me.
That's true.
I cannot take this with me, and I don't mind sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind sharing it. But who would want to waste their time on something,
No one.
somebody who is not truly invested in? Because this is an art.
Yeah.
You know, it is an art. And, you know, if you don't have an artistic mindset, and it might not work. But, you know, more importantly, for this industry and for this particular craft, it's not being able to do the work that is sometimes the biggest issue. Sometimes the biggest issue is you have to have the mentality to want to deal with people, because everybody, again, ain't cut from the same cloth.
Mm-hmm.
And can you navigate around maybe mentality or attitude that just may not be favorable for you or to you, to your liking?
Yeah.
Can you not? Are you a people person? The
Mm-hmm.
work itself is that's secondary, but are you a people person? Because you are dealing with a person, you know, and sometimes the issue falls in, well, they had a horrible attitude, had a bad attitude. Well, you took their money. So
Yeah.
therefore, they can't. Did they have a bad attitude when they took their money?
Yeah.
Because you took their money. There's a responsibility on your part to do
Right.
what you're supposed to do. It's real simple. You tell me
Mm-hmm.
what you want. I tell you what it's gonna cost. You say yay or nay. You say yay. This is what I need, and I'm gonna give you your product, and we're done.
You know, I want to get back to that, but let me finish this last two questions. But I got to get back to
We
that.
ain't done yet.
We got two
That was
more.
number 8.
We got two more, but I do want to get back to that, how you, the customer service side of it. But
Right.
number 8 is one of my favorites. I've never, well, I've met her, but I don't really know her like that. But I really, really love her,
Mhm.
Monica
Oh
Overking.
my God. You must have been a fly on the wall, because she called me today too. And she just called and say, how you doing? I said, I'm fine. And it was just a check-in kind of a thing. And actually the son that's helped me set this all up, that said that he's the favorite son, that's her child too. So we share him as parents. But that has been a day one, A1 day one too. Has been an A1 day one, wherein from the first time she put her foot on stage, I've sort of been there. And the relationship is bigger than on stage, because
Yeah.
I too know their family, their siblings, her mom, and we have relationships off stage, you know, but has always been a joy to work with and a good person. All around, just good person, period. All
Yeah.
around person, period. So, yes,
She's she's definitely like someone I love.
right.
So the next word or place, I definitely want you to elaborate, and that is your Christianity, your spirituality.
Well, I think that having grown up with a uh, recognizing that and I would just say higher power, because everybody's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It I personally couldn't understand how anybody, because sometimes there's no one there whenever you kind of walking through what you may be. When I say, I'm talking about physically there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need so who do you go to, call on, or whatever, if someone's not necessarily physically there? That's just what I need for me to be able to. I need some peace right now. I need you to put me in a place of whatever, just recognizing that it's not all me. I know that this didn't come from just me. I know that this comes from a higher power that necessarily sends folks here, and all that kind of stuff. Now, not to say we don't have bad days now, because we all human. We all human, but that's just my cushion, that I just need to be able to navigate through this just life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and just to be able to appreciate. You know, it's easier to make a comment or have an opinion about something that's bad, but or that may not be to your liking.
Yeah.
But what works for me is I can find good in dirt.
Yeah.
If you choose to find good, you will find it.
Right.
In any situation, it's all a choice. If you choose to find bad in a situation, it's there. If you choose to find good in the situation, it's there. It's all up to you. What are you going to do with whatever you got to make whatever decision you need to move you forward?
Yeah.
So before Wendell goes into the customer service and finish on, I have a series of questions that I want to put
Wait,
you on.
that wasn't number 10. That was number 9.
I thought you said that was 10. Go ahead.
So the last one is more of a novelty,
Mm.
and that is Donald Trump.
You ain't gonna do that to me, not tonight. We can't do that. We can't do that.
Yes, we can.
No, we can't.
You're gonna give me a word.
But then you just asked me about my Christianity, then you followed up with
So the word is gonna go
my
directly.
church. My church members might be watching.
Well, I don't want you to give me
No.
a word if it's gonna collide.
But
with
you
your-
know, ideally, in spite of everything that is happening, the one thing that I can pull from this that's a positive for us is none of us probably ever thought that we would be experiencing things that our grandparents and great grandparents experienced. I think that in this moment, there's a place for us to be able to say we got to rely on us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind the devil being the devil as long as I know he the devil and he recognizes that I know he the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's been a lot of revealing to us about who's with us, who's not with us, and even in folks who we thought were about us, and some of our own.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem with knowing and being disappointed. The problem I have is that if you could have just, don't lie about it, or just let us know what's what. I think that we have work to do.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of work to do, and sometimes we may have been relying on others for too long when it comes to certain things about us. And when I say us, I don't necessarily mean just Black people, because we have allies.
Mm-hmm.
We have allies, but by the same token, your allies is like, it's a wonderful thing, but our experience is our experience. And there's some things I would never know what it's like to be a woman. I would never know what it's like to be trans. I would never know what it's like to be whatever. So we all walk in our journeys,
Yeah.
but recognizing who you're walking with,
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that say that, that's my friend, that's my buddy, that's this, that. No, that ain't necessarily true.
Okay.
Self accountability is big with me. It can't always be somebody else's fault. What was your input? What was your contribution to this situation, whether it was good or bad?
Okay.
So that's what I feel about that.
About him.
That was number 10.
Oh, I got it.
Julian. So let me
Yeah.
put you on the spot here. Let's talk sportswear and let's talk designs.
Okay.
Does Julian Jackson have a no so list?
I knew that was going to. Yes, I do.
Okay. You don't have to tell us the names, but okay.
I'm not.
You
They know.
Okay. So Julian does have a no so list. You have to answer these next two. Who is your favorite male lead to sew for? You have to give us a name.
Oh God. I mean, I can't just give you one name.
Well, give us 3.
That's fair. That's fair.
I need 4.
Okay, give us. We're gonna
Take
let you
4.
have
Well,
4. Don't give us no
and
more than 4.
okay. And I don't want to leave anybody out, and because if someone's name, you know how people get in their feelings and this and that.
They'll be all right.
I get it. But Tarico,
Okay.
Taco,
Okay.
Lavelle,
Okay.
Cairo.
Cairo. Okay.
And
3
that's
to
because there's no drama and trauma in our communications.
Mhm.
You know, it's smooth sailing. Everybody's pieces protected.
Okay.
I
3 to
love
4
that.
females.
Marissa, Monica. And I don't know if you know her. Do you know Shanda? Marissa's best friend,
Sandra?
Shanda. You don't know Shanda, Marissa's best friend from Jacksonville?
The AKA.
Yeah, the AKA. Yeah. And her.
Okay. So, what does it look like when a client comes to you and they have a design? Because you said give you something to work with,
Right.
but it's something that you personally hate.
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate that?
I don't if they don't ask me.
Okay.
The only time that I may have input about something that may be different from what a picture or whatever they bought, if it's something that's obviously wrong for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's wrong. It's the wrong. If you want, it's not going to accentuate your best features
Mm-hmm.
if it's wrong. Now, once I kind of go over that, if they say, well, I kind of still want it, then I have to make a decision if I'm going to do this. Now, I will not stifle somebody else's vision of what's art, because this is all art to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I like, personally like, may not be what someone else like, but is it appropriate for them?
Mm-hmm.
They may want to slick high up to their cooch. Well, that's where you want it. Or I'll take it as far as I'm going to take it, and you can do what you want to do after you leave here because it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't personally have to love something.
Mm.
You may like Gucci. I like the label, but I don't necessarily have to like everything they put out in every collection.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean that I don't like the label. But no, as long as it doesn't fall under, that's just wrong for you.
Mm-hmm.
That, what I'm saying, based on your build, based on, you want a sweetheart cut gown, but
Right.
this may not be right.
Okay.
So that just may not be appropriate for you. But I personally do not have to like something in order to say, I'm gonna do it or not.
You're judging Duval every year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 10 girls in the pageant, and 7 are in your sportswears. Clearly, you don't think your sportswears are wrong. So, how do you navigate those 7 different girls?
It may not be wrong once it leaves here, but it could be wrong. It may not be wrong then.
Okay.
See, you have to remember sometimes, and I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. And you can ask them. I tell any promoter if I'm, on a panel, I think the judges should be judged just like the contestants are judged from the back.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at their scores. You need to look at consistency. Please look at my scores, because more than anything, see, I got to go home with me. And I don't understand why it serves someone to give something to someone and then take away something for someone. I just can't get around that. You know what I'm saying? I cannot get around the unfairness that's involved there. So just because, if your pants ain't right, I ain't had nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's wrinkled, I ain't had nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
If your hair and makeup ain't right, it's greater than the sportswear.
Mm-hmm.
It's your overall look. So that's a total. Those are total different components that are being judged and criteria that's being judged. So, and it doesn't. None of that. I get it from a contestant who might be leery about whatever, but no, it's we can talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many a times wherein folks just automatically think. One of the things that kind of moves me a certain way, somebody will say, well, I'm gonna get Julian because I know it's gonna win. So I said, no, that don't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I made it, that don't mean nothing.
But let's be fair. You kind of
No, that's fair. That is my
Because they
fair.
still have to accessorize it. They have to do hair and makeup.
Well,
I
they do.
am.
Now they do be winning now. Come on now.
Oh no, but if but see, they have their part to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've done my part when it left here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from the time it leaves here to the time that it makes it on that stage, I don't know what it's gonna look like, and it gets judged accordingly.
Have you ever sat in the audience and or on a panel and it left one way perfectly, but once you saw it on the stage, have you ever said, "Ooh, I could have done this differently," or "I maybe should have used a different color, maybe a different pattern"? Have you ever said that to yourself?
No. No, I really haven't because when they get it, that's the end product of.
Okay.
We don't round table all that.
Okay.
For the most part. You know, when they come, it's like, okay, tell me the three colors. I guess you may have to be inside the consultation process
Mm-hmm.
to know all the different stones that are turned.
Right.
Tell me the same way you asked me about my favorite color. Someone says, I want this color. Okay, why did you pick that color? You know, there's a process.
Okay.
So it
You
goes
go through the pros and the cons.
Absolutely. So then part of the process is, what parts of you do you like to accentuate? What parts of you do you want to not accentuate? You want to hide. So we kind of go over those things. They really kind of design their own kind of thing, because you can't just bring an illustration or picture or idea and think that because she had it on, it's appropriate for you.
You right.
It's not that.
Okay.
No, that doesn't work, because the
That's
whole
fair.
point. Yeah, folks. Well, I like it, and this is not. Well, the whole point of you being here now is for, and you even getting on stage or entering a pageant, is to showcase you in your best possible light, the best way that you can, through hair, makeup, the whole gamut, to showcase you in your best possible light. This right here ain't gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or this right here will do it. Or we sit around and we round table and we look at stuff and we kind of go over stuff. And this, it's not as simple as you come in, you say, I want this, and it's done. Not for me. It's not that way. There's times when folks I've suggested that I'm not going to be the one to be able to work with you.
Oh, so you have turned people down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that has happened.
Okay.
That has happened. And for more than one reason. Sometimes it ain't always about the design. Sometimes it's about, you ain't stable. I'm talking about people that are my friends. You sleeping with somebody in somebody else's couch. So where you gonna hang this garment? You friend.
I love that.
I'm not
I love
friend.
that
I'm
as
not
well.
gonna do this for you.
I
I know you're gonna be
love
mad
that.
with me. I know you're gonna be mad. You'll see it down the road. I know you're gonna be mad with me. I know you are.
Yeah,
You'll see it down the
I
road.
love that.
Yeah.
Julian, now you're gonna probably say I can't do that, but can you give me one overall sportswear that you just absolutely love? Who it was for?
And Roger said you was gonna ask this question. Did you consult with him?
No, I haven't even talked to Roger.
Oh my God. He told me today, Trinity gonna ask you that question. It's so, you got to remember how far it goes back, because I could probably
That's why I said if you have
my
to name
more
more
recent,
than one, that's fine. If you have to name more than one, just
but it would be probably in my more recent memory as opposed to, ooh, Trinity, golly. Hmm. No, I'm for real. Golly. I tell you, one of my favorites, years ago, there was a sportswear that I did for Monica. It was black leather and fur.
Oh, I remember that.
It was black leather with the fur sleeves.
That was
Uh, yeah. And what I want to do is think of a male. Now, one of the ones that, and this is recent because I like color, I like different. I personally love the formal wear that I did for Pierre.
Oh,
It was the
Universe. Was that the one
gold.
at
Universe
Universe?
last year.
No, it was golden, sort of golden
Go. Yeah.
fuchsia with the
Uh-huh.
pleats,
It was
That was
and it
last year,
had,
right? I love
huh?
that. Wasn't that last year, Universe?
It was last year. So
Yeah.
and there's so many I've done for. Golly, you really, yeah,
It's okay. I didn't know if you may have had that one that you was like, you know what, this is my all-time archive favorite, but like you said, your stuff has hit every stage every year. So I'm more than sure you have more than one favorite.
yeah.
Yeah.
I try to at least be able to once something leaves to
Mhm.
be able to smile about it and say I like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm
One
saying?
last one last question on this, and I'll let Wendell finish. Is there anyone, any entertainer, male or female, that you have not been able to work with that you would like to work with?
Hmm.
You can't say me because I'm the host. However,
Oh God.
because I am
Well,
coming up there. I'm definitely coming. My sister just left from up there, and I got the
who
tea coming.
who?
I can't. She just left from up there this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Uh
No
you know,
face to face.
well let me I th- I appreciate those that I have that I have worked with.
Okay.
I think that having been in the business for as long for the amount of time that I've been here, if I haven't worked with them, they haven't kind of made the effort to come and say, I want to work with you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So therefore, me taking that lead, it to me kind of says that, well, maybe, for whatever reason, you just haven't worked with them, and that's their choice.
Mhm.
So I don't, kind of I appreciate what I got and who does come. Whoever don't come, I just, and maybe in time it will happen,
Mhm.
because sometimes that can kind of yeah. The ones that I have, I appreciate and
Okay.
I love them yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Ken.
So, like, rather than going through all the decades I wanted to go through, I wanted to ask you because originally I wanted to go through fashion, freedom through fashion, because I always
Right.
see fashion as showing what is happening in the decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the 50s, it was
Can I
kind
do
of
something real quick? I don't mean to cut you,
sure.
Wendell. I really do not mean to cut you off. I left somebody off this list of favorites, and they're not a pageant person. They were thinking about getting into pageants, but his name is Arif Griffin Vega.
Reef Griffin Vega.
Yes, and there's so many pieces there that I've done, but I just was so focused on pageantry. But they wear clothing as if they were in a pageant, and as a matter of fact, he's a doctor, but he kind of goes against the grain as far as what's traditional doctor. But that's besides the point. But I just wanted to put that in because it just came to me. I'm sorry. Go back to your
So he
question.
liked to be done. He liked to be done.
Might as well be. Might as well be. Totally different. Breaks the mold for what a stereotypical doctor is. And I'm
I love
talking about
that.
everything in his closet. You might as well you can put that on the stage. Trains and furs and bees and six.
Oh,
Yeah. But
Okay.
I just want
love
I
to
didn't
see
mean to
it.
interrupt your question, but it just came to me. So I needed to get that in. So I'm sorry.
No, I love that because I think when she was asking the questions, I think it was kind of like all encompassing. So that's
Yes,
good.
yes, yes, yes.
But so as far as like freedom in fashion, like we've already kind of hit that the fifties was kind of mute, and
Right,
that was what was happening, right?
right.
And then in the sixties, we talked about the seventies, but I'm curious to know the sixties when we think about the civil rights movement and the fashion, because we saw fashion,
Absolutely.
we see it. So what did you think about the sixties, the black fashion in that era?
It was us showcasing our sophistication. And although we had those struggles as far as the different what we were going through as a culture, it did not get in the way of us expressing how powerful we were through
Mhm.
fashion. Through it was almost like they were built for that because it didn't break
Yeah,
them. It did not break them, and they were still able to be connected through their commitment to black folks, the protests,
yeah,
the boycotts, and all that, and still show up on Sunday and go clean somebody else's house and still come back. None of that stuff broke them,
no,
and we just kind of showcased. It was all. I don't think the emphasis was necessarily on fashion, but it was about us as a culture. Period.
yeah,
You know. So that I guess that was probably the most powerful era wherein it kind of showcased us as a people
yeah,
and who we were and the resilience and the strength that we have as a people. I think in the 70s then it became, this kind of freedom. Uh, uh,
disco
yeah,
era, yeah,
yeah. I think the 60s showed us our strength to be able to showcase ourselves like we did in the 70s.
yeah. Because it was
You
going
know,
in that direction. I always argue with people that Jackie O. I feel this is my personal belief that Jackie O was watching the black girls because
absolutely,
when you look at the civil rights, when they would go to these
absolutely,
protests, they were so done. And Jackie O
absolutely.
started wearing fitted dresses, fitted suits, Valeros. You know, she started doing the things that you would see the
Absolutely.
black girls doing.
Yep. Can you see this picture right here?
Mm-hmm.
Vaguely.
His
It's
eyes.
it's one of my favorite pictures, and it was back in the day when black folks dressed up.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's when we dressed up, and everyone that comes, oh, I love that picture. It nothing kind of showcases us better
Yeah.
than those particular as a people.
Yeah.
As a people, I think that was the foundation for us. This is how
Mm.
strong we are. Y'all see us how we see it. Y'all, yes, we have a lot of adversities here, but that does not define who we are as a
Absolutely.
as people. So yeah. So you already know how I feel about that.
So what was happening in the 80s? We talked about the 70s, but what was going on with the fashion in the 80s?
I think then it became even more freedom. With the various, I don't know, music kind of went. I think it was more so a creative thing. I don't know. People had that creative outlet to do. All the different brands were coming out. The cross colors and all
Mm-hmm.
the different musical groups where people were expressing themselves. Uh, uh, younger uh, people were embracing fashion. It. I guess it wasn't all about being polished and sophisticated. It was
Yeah.
more so about just doing you,
Yeah.
through fashion, with all that, the glamour kind of,
Went away.
yeah, kind of went away, so
So do you feel like well for me, I think I always say that hip hop kind of ushered in a more boogie urban style, which kind of pushed the 60s and 70s to the back
mhm,
because it became the phobia started coming in with the
mhm,
clothing. So clothing that heterosexual men would parade around in all the time
yeah,
in the 60s and 70s became like, oh, that's too tight.
right,
But rap and all of the hip hop
right,
came into it.
right.
And it
Well,
went into the 90s, right? It kind of bled into the 90s.
well, I mean, as the old saying goes, what's new? Nothing under the sun is new. Ain't nothing under the sun is new. Everything is, goes through its evolution of whatever. Because at points in times back in the 70s, men were tight pants up top, and then they kind of had the bell bottoms. Then we went through the baggy look from the 80s and all that kind of stuff. And then we now in the 2000s, we doing the fitted, and now we're going back to baggy again.
Yeah.
So it's nothing is new. You can't reinvent the wheel. It's whatever is being done has been done. Whatever's being done has already been done. It just depends on how you kind of tweaking it and kind of, move forward with it. I think more so when it comes to fashion, the mindsets have changed, in my opinion, as far as what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. It's like they put guardrails up to what should be done, what can't be done. But then again, as you just mentioned, when you factor in all those things, those phobias and all those kind of things that define what's a man, what's a woman, what's this, that, and the third, that makes it all the more complicated and muddled. If you don't have a strong sense of who you are as a person.
Right.
That it becomes difficult at that particular time, so.
So we know that you have seen not only fashion evolve, but you've seen pageantry evolve.
Yes.
You've seen the world evolve, right?
Yeah. Well,
Where,
damn. Wait a minute now. The world
well, I
evolved.
mean, like we all have. We all have. I'm just saying that
Okay.
you definitely have,
I
right?
get it. I get it.
But where do you see the relationship between fashion and community and the social aspect of life? Where do you see it going? Like, what's next in Julian Jackson's
I
opinion?
don't know. I don't know. The one thing that when we were just speaking about the barriers and the guardrails and all that kind of stuff, when it comes to our community per se, let's say, for example, our community, wherein people were doing what was taboo back then, and people being allowed to express themselves and do. Now you're talking about within pageantry or just fashion?
Fashion.
What people are allowed to do, let people live. You know, fashion evolves, all kinds of arts evolve, hair evolves, makeup evolves, fashion evolves. It all kind of changes, and it takes someone who has a sense of not being caged to kind of understand that. It all changes. It all changes, and the problem that I have with not letting people live is, well, who said that you were the voice for the ambassador for whatever it is that we're speaking of? Hell, they change car models every year.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you step even out
Everything
car,
evolves.
society changes. So not being willing, and I would say willing as opposed to able, because we can do whatever we want to do. It's about, are you willing to do it? Not willing to be able to be open enough to be able to say, okay, I ain't got to agree with it, but it is what it is. Let people let kind of people live, and I don't, in all areas of their lives, just let them live. I don't
Yeah.
see how you can eat XYZ. I don't see how you what. Okay, well, everything ain't for everybody.
Right.
Everything's just not for
Yeah.
everybody. And I guarantee you will have a lot more peace in your life if you allow that not to invade your spirit and your life. I promise
Yeah.
you, you will.
Absolutely. So Trinity always asks our guests about Mount Rushmore, but I want to do it a little different with your Mount Rushmore. I
Okay.
want two Mount Rushmores. One Mount Rushmore, I want it to be of the girls that you think of first when you think of fashion. They don't have to be your clients. They
Right.
may not have ever gotten anything done for you, but you think of them. And then I want four for the males. The same rules apply.
Oh gosh. For the males.
They could be living or past.
Living or past or
For sure,
retired.
for sure, Coleman Domingo. For
Okay.
definitely Coleman Domingo for the males. Uh, and believe it or not, folks might not see, but I think that he was just allowed to express himself once he got and felt more comfortable with his body type. I've always thought Luther Vandross was a fashionable, although he was noted for something else, I think that
Yeah.
once he shedded and changed his body type, he became that kind of a person that's always kind of been,
Mhm.
it's here, but I'm kind of struggling with some other things.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Another person that I've always kind of admired was God, what is his last name? He's a black fashion designer, Willie. Okay, it'll come to me. Female wise, I've always sort of thought of, the black supermodels as being kind of iconic for fashion, although they were kind of representing labels, but I don't think that no one kind of sold it and kind of presented it like them. I don't know. It's and that you could call me, I ain't anti nothing, but I'm definitely all pro black. Right. I ain't anti nothing, but that's
We
just what my
bad.
spirit is. You know what I'm saying? So anything that kind of pushes and steps outside of what the norm was, and we were the ones who were doing it, that's what kind of mattered, because we were either going to step out there, and believe it or not, for the most part, we always kind of changed the game slightly. We didn't always get credit for it. But some kind of way it was kind of shifted because of what we did, how we did in that moment. So I don't know if there's necessarily enough names, because I wouldn't want to forget, but I just think as a whole, we kind of shaped and did our things that we didn't always get credit for. So
When you referencing Will Smith, not Will Smith, not Will Smith the rapper, but Will Smith or Will Ware?
Willie Ware.
Willie Ware. Okay.
Willie Ware was his and his sister name was Tukey. Willie Ware. But anyway, Willie Smith. Yeah. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are correct. You are correct. But at the time when he was doing what he was doing, no one else was doing it, and it was so different from what the norm was. And it was like, here's the box, and this is where fashion is, and he just like, well, this box got a door on it, so I think I'm gonna come outside the box. So that was just always something that was just appreciated, as far as my perspective goes when it comes to fashion. So
Julian, what is your take on the peplum? That seems to be the ongoing conversation when it comes to sportswear. Stop wearing these peplums. Stop wearing peplums. What's your take on it, since you make them?
You know what my take on it is? Let people live.
Okay. Y'all heard it.
Because if that's the case, that's I like that question, because it's almost to say, you can do 1,000 things, one thing 1,000 ways, and you're entitled to. So if I were to say to you, I wish they would stop wearing sweetheart gowns. Nobody owns. Would you have that same concept with that? There's only.
That's a good point. That's valid.
Stop wearing. I wish they would stop wearing sweetheart gowns. Oh, I wish they would stop wearing the color black.
Yeah.
That works for them. So, and I get it that, because because it is in pageantry, and everyone sometimes feel like the need to judge and or have an opinion about something that ain't got nothing to do with them. Right. But that comes along with the territory. that comes along with the territory. But it would be the same way if someone says, if you were noted for doing a particular character or impression, oh, I wish they would stop doing XYZ. If you were a singer for talent, Lord, I wish they would stop singing live.
That's true.
I mean,
What is the
to
cliche? They have
satisfy
a cliche
you.
that go with that. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. One of those.
And sometimes, again, if it's art, it's what it is.
Yeah.
And if they wear a peplum, or it's whatever, and a good portion of the time, if the client, if you've kind of gone over the, we've had the consultation A to Z, and if that's in the end what they choose to, move forward with, because in the end, if you're a makeup artist, the only person you have to satisfy is your client.
That's right.
You wear wig, when you get your hair, regardless of what somebody else say, because people gonna have an opinion, the only person I have to be satisfied with is my client. When folks say, well, XYZ did that, well, what's wrong with it? Oh, you may not personally like that. That's different, and we can get with that. Let's have a conversation about that, as opposed to who did what. And the client, that's who we aim to satisfy. No, whether you're cooking for them, you're doing their hair, you doing their nails, or you sewing their clothes, or whatever it is, your client, that's who you ultimately have to, satisfy.
Yeah.
That's
Explain how important it is for undergarments, Julian.
Oh my God. Again, see, now that gets right back to that question about, you got 10 girls in a pageant and 7 blah blah blah. You didn't have those undergarments on when you came here.
Oh, so they changing their stuff on you.
Well, if they do, that's on you, but just make sure you read your score sheet.
Right.
Because that app, you would really be surprised if some folks said, oh, I don't forgot my XYZ. What am I supposed to do? Or just do this. I'm a suck it. It's like, okay. We go through whatever we go through, and it finally becomes, again, what it left here. And then when you got home,
Yeah.
there's a journey there. You know what I'm saying? There's a journey there. So therefore, that don't it and you would think that in the industry with the seasoned people, that some things are just like breathing. I know I gotta do this, I do this, I put this on, I put such and such on. I've had people on, have judged them, say, I forgot to put my XYZ on. How you forgot to put your undergarment on? But I guess it's possible because you did. You forgot it. But those are the things that determine the outcome of a finished product.
Yeah.
And that's everyday stuff. It ain't even got to be pageantry. That's everyday. I have a friend of mine that owns a boutique. And she won't say, if you come in there and buy XYZ, she ain't gonna sell you whatever you may need if it requires undergarment, because she has them there, and you won't misrepresent, because her brand is very important.
Important.
Yeah.
I think that's like a standing rule, and like I know a lot of the more seasoned girls in Texas and Florida, they're really big on every time you go to a fitting, have your full body.
Absolutely.
Every single thing you go do needs to be on you every time you go.
Absolutely. It's very important. It's very important. And not so much as, and that's very important, but also putting it on the exact same way. That's the more important thing. I learned from one of my clients, she has marked lines where things meet up and such. And until you can get it, I was like, man, that's a smart idea. Until you get a bodysuit where you can actually guarantee that this pad is in this spot all the time.
Oh, that's smart.
That
Yeah,
is
she had
smart.
lines. It looked like a surgical, when the doctor
Right.
draw
She
lines.
had a science.
This
She
line,
got to
yes.
science.
And
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's
okay, I learned something. I learned
Julian.
something.
Take us, because somebody's watching or talking to you, that wants a Julian suit. Take us briefly through the process of how they can commission you. What is the process?
The first step, just contact me.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that my Facebook page is a public page. They send friend requests. Well, you didn't accept my friend request. It's an open page, so I don't have to accept your friend request.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that particular point, I need to know the first question is, when do you need this?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first question before we even get to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
When do you need it? If I can't meet the deadline, we don't need to talk about nothing else. If I can't meet the deadline. Now, if someone just said I want it for XYZ and I can meet the deadline, then at that particular point, give me an idea of what it is. And sometimes people have pictures or some kind of, it doesn't have to be exact. It could just be close enough to whatever. At that particular point, I assess what it is. And sometimes people don't know. And they just want to go ahead and book you to go ahead and get their slot taken care of. Hey, Wendell, get their slot taken care of. And but if they do know, so that I can say this is going to cost XYZ. Either you say, boom, we can move forward, or thanks, but no thanks. And that's all great, because I appreciate that you contacted me. Because I may not be able to work with you now, but see, I don't live in the here and the right now always. It's down. I plan on being here for a little while, so we might be able to do something down the road. And then once we kind of do that, you come on the events, you got to come on in here and get your measurements done, and we do a muslin for you, and then you come and try your final thing on, and we say, you like it, you love it, good. This is what you owe me, and here's your garment, and we're done until the next time.
But how long do you typically need for something?
It
Like
depends.
let's just say a client is interested in a sportswear for, let's say, Black America. How soon do they need to contact you?
They contact me whenever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've already got some people for Black America that were months ago. Mm-hmm. They've already just did their deposit so that they can secure their spot. So okay. But anything beyond, because I sometimes don't know when the window is open. Mm-hmm. As orders come in, it closed. Now I don't know, because I can have just 3 customers that may clear out a whole booking because they're getting multiple garments, and depending on how it's done, one customer ain't always just getting one piece. Mm-hmm. So it just depends. And sometimes people come last, and this is one rule that I have that I just think that it's just fair to everybody, and it allows new people to come into your space, and it also kind of makes those that have been in your space, you got to do what you have to do. I take clients first come, first serve.
Absolutely.
I don't care if I've been working with you for 40 years. You, of all people, should know what the process is. So the expectation from you is, I need to do what I need to do, because you know what the journey is. So if I'm working with you for the very first time, and 2 of my regulars have come along, and you kind of blocked off that spot, I can't do y'all. She came to me first.
Yeah.
That's the only way to be fair to people.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is that the people that are my regulars, you will want some new client.
Mm-hmm.
So you will want that same thing extended to you when the time happens. So that's how you keep it. It has to be that way. You can't. Well, I can't. I just don't do. We'll see if we can get it. But if the window is actually closed, and that happened. That's happened with Universe for this year. Yeah. I just couldn't. It ain't but 24 hours in a day, and I'm asleep. I need about 8 hours, about 5 hours of sleep. So the rest of them is done.
I think that bleeds into what Wendell was going to speak about when it comes to this thing now that we're seeing with a lot of designers, hairstylists, makeup artists, what have you, customer service. Talk to us about how important that is to you.
It's very important to me because I think that the client has done their part by reaching out to you, by saying I am respecting you and what you do enough to say, I want to work with you. And then at that particular point, the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court to decide based on whatever you gather from y'all's interactions, are we going to move forward? Because it's more than, again, making the garment. Yeah. It's about, and you don't have to be buddies, but it's a level of, there has to be respect there. There has to be a level of respect. I don't even have to personally love you, or I'm not gonna say like, because you should like, it just makes it easier. But we don't have to take our business relationship further than business relationship. But there has to be respect there. You walk into a McDonald's, if you expect the girl behind the register at McDonald's to respect you, and you just spending $10 there, I mean, they really spend hundreds of dollars with you. That's just basics to me. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the right to say, if you don't feel that energy or whatever it is that you're not feeling, just say, I don't think this is gonna work out. Okay. You have that right. You have that right to do that. And I would think that whomever would respect that, because in the end, we all gonna, at all costs, I'm gonna protect my peace.
Yeah. Well, I think your customer service is impeccable. Your customer service is impeccable, and you definitely inspired me to send you my little 2 pictures, because I was one of the ones that said, I don't just do what you want to do. Like, yeah, you did. But I got motivated. I was like, let me just go find something. Let me go.
Go ahead and put it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. What's her name? Jane Mansfield. Whatever you feel, go ahead, just get that.
James.
You put it out there.
I'm just putting it out there. I want to.
Did I miss something? Wait a minute. I missed something.
Well, she's pretty much saying that she's gonna be coming to you soon.
Okay. Okay, I'm a little. I ain't up on that stuff. I'm so busy working. I'm so busy working.
Julian, how does it feel? Because I hear things. But how does it feel that you've never had a bad rapport? I've never heard of anything bad when it comes to your customer service, your garments, or anything like that. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good, because, but then again, that's the goal. Okay. That is the goal. That's the goal for me, because again, it's about, and believe it or not, it's this basic cliche. When you treat folk right, right just is right. There's no gray area to right and wrong. And especially in this, there's a lot of negative stuff that comes along. People lie on you, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that comes along with this. But that is the goal, because I look at it like this: if in situations wherein I can't, sometimes you're trying to find reason or understanding about something. What would, if the roles were reversed, how would you feel? If the roles were reversed, that someone gave you their money and you didn't produce a product, how would you feel? Now that feeling can go everything by a customer to I'll knock down your door. So who wants to be in that? It's just so basic for just do right and it'll be all right.
Well, that's definitely true.
I mean, it's really kind of simple for me. Just do right, and it'll be all right. If you just do right, you don't do right, it might not be all right.
I have an inbox question for you. Is there any particular fabric that you hate to work with?
It depends on what I'm using it for. Okay. Now, I have been, of course, everything that I do is kind of self-taught, and sometimes people think that when they go shopping that it's the hardest thing. I don't know how to pick out fabric. my line to them is just love it with your eyes.
Mhm.
If you like it with your eyes, because I have made some things that out of fabrics does not. I've made chiffon suits. That's my job, to build it and put it to where it needs to be to give you the proper finish. I made fabric garments out of swimsuit fabrics and lightweights. It just depends, but it all depends on what I'm using that fabric for.
Mhm.
You know, to achieve whatever the finished product we need to. I'm working with some right now that I said I would never work with again, and I don't plan on working with it again for a very long time.
Uh-oh.
Because it's not designed for what I'm doing, but we're gonna make this work.
Okay.
You know
Gotcha.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
We're gonna go against whatever it was designed for, and it's gonna look fabulous on stage.
Mhm.
So it all depends on what I'm making it
For.
yeah, what I'm making it for. And it's like, no, I can't use that with this. I can't use that with that.
You have a clearly you have a lot of up and coming designers that look up to you, and are on the live now. Um, who do you like? Who do you see and you like their designs in our community?
In our community, I
Yeah.
think that there's been everybody has had something that I've liked on stage.
Okay.
You know, that I actually like. Everybody, I've liked things from Krishan. I've liked things from Rico. I like because I know it's the only time I probably would not like something if it's not just made well.
Okay. Okay.
But as far as the aesthetic of looking at it, who am I missing? Who else is in out there? Of course, the icons, the JDs, and the all those, those you love, because more than what the design is, it's about the quality of the work.
Yeah.
It's about the fit of it. Because I don't care how beautiful it is, if it don't fit, then there I go.
It's the fit that makes the fashion, right?
It's the fit that makes the fashion. But
I've been
there's
thinking
so
about
many,
all night.
the people that have sewn in. Who else is in Atlanta that sews? Come on, I don't want to forget nobody. And I know
Well,
there's other
I think you
people.
have Antoine Fleeton. He's up and
Oh
coming.
yes, him.
Joshua.
Yes, and
Joshua.
and more than any, the LeBling person.
LeBlanc, yes, yes.
Oh
Yes.
my
Linguist and
God,
Nasty.
they love their stuff.
Yeah.
Vita.
Vita,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all because it's the creativity sometimes, and more so the fit of. But yeah, it's us.
Latino. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's us that's
Yeah.
putting out and doing good stuff. I would love to be in some of their spaces and be able to say, you know what? I got something to offer you, and I know you got something to offer me.
Right. No, no, absolutely.
That would be amazing.
That would
actually
be
a good project. It really
absolutely,
would.
if there was a collective that's like, I even mentioned that a while ago with someone, and they said, okay, I'm gonna put it together. Because at that particular time that I was talking about it, it was like, I would love to be able to be in a space when I'm at a point where it's like, oh, I need some help. I can call XYZ. And because we have collaborated together to say, I'm gonna fly you in, come on in, and I need you to do boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Without there being no kind of shit. Because see, I'm not that shade and that feeling the need to be exclusive to me. We've all already established our lanes, so to speak. So why not share we can share and make this thing kind of much bigger than what it is. So
Pageantry.
yeah, absolutely. The
This
gift
is
is there. It's about sharing it. The gifts are there.
Yeah.
This
Who you
is a
gonna share
very
the gift
good.
with?
This is a very good one, and I like how she worded this. She says, "I am of a particular age and size, and I am looking to do a pageant that requires sportswear. I cannot wear a high heel, but I really want to be in a skirt opposed to a pantsuit. As someone who has been doing this for years, what would you recommend? If I know I have to wear a kid heel, should I go with the pantsuit or should I go with the skirt?"
You know, the bigger question for me is you have to take whatever you need to look at what the standard is for whatever pageant you're going to.
Okay. So you hear that? She
It's
watching.
about the standard of where you're going because, for example, when folks talk, one of the biggest misconceptions is when you go to, and I'll just use these as examples because they are reality examples. When you go to Black America or Universe, the standard there is not the same as Continental.
There
So
you
when
have
you're
it.
talking about when folks, when you're sitting in the audience at Continental and you see someone comes out where a sleeve may be here, a little short, or the fit may such and such. Oh my God, how do they such and such? The standard's not the same.
Yeah.
All games have different rules to them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that you know what the standard is, where you are going. If you know that over here we looking for, say, a high fashion whatever kind of look, and you know in order to achieve that look, you've got to put on a high heel. That may not be where you need to go.
Yeah.
And but more importantly, you're gonna probably have those high heels on for what, 3 minutes, right?
Right.
Right through it.
So what I tell you what my mama said long time ago.
You
Yeah.
ain't about high
Don't play
heels,
no
high
It
game,
heels.
it
baby.
it may not be you think this looks feels good. No, it don't feel good, but they sure do look good. 6-inch heels on a woman.
Get down
So
that
you
runway,
might have to
honey.
have those heels right at the side of the stage.
With some
Put the
icy
heels
hot.
on, go out there, pump it out, and get up out of there.
Get up out
Yeah,
and
have
have the
your icy
wait,
hat
the
on and
wait
be
right on off the
ready.
side.
Go,
Because when
go,
you win, it's gonna be worth it.
boom,
Yes. And
boom,
you
boom.
say you had on your pump.
Right. So sometimes you got to challenge yourself and step outside your own box. And I get it. Now, if it's for a medical thing, I get it. You shouldn't put
Yeah.
yourself in harm's way.
Way.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't put yourself in harm's way. But it's a possibility that, more importantly, you have to know what you got and where you taking it.
Gotcha.
And that's in all, that's clothing, that's talents, and all that stuff. You can't take no gospels to over there to, them people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That can be received.
They don't
You just have
understand.
to know. These are the things
Well,
that you have to know for yourself.
Give them
I
what they
want to
want.
right. I
Oh, you
want to
say
be
what
sure to make
happened?
sure we shout out Lysandria as the one of the up and coming designers that
Oh yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
Saturday night.
I've seen some of her stuff too. I
Yeah.
like the stuff too. Yes, yes, yes.
So shouts out to
So
Lysandria. Go ahead, King.
so Julian, we always like to kind of sum it up with asking you about your legacy. But I don't outside of fashion and designing,
Mhm.
what do you think, what would you like for your children and those people that knew you the best? What would you like for them to say about your legacy 20 years from now?
Again, it sounds so cliche-ish, but it's the basics for me. That he really loved and helped. And this just goes beyond it just sounds so basic, but most things that are important are basic stuff.
Mhm.
He really, it's not even so much the impact on in pageantry, fashion, or whatever. I'm just talking about overall.
Mhm.
Overall, just it was just decent and was liked and loved and did the best he could with what he had.
Okay.
So
So before Queen leaves you with the last question, I want to just first thank you so very much for being on here tonight.
Two
I
hours.
think,
We told you one. How we get to
yeah,
two,
it was
Julian?
2 hours.
wow, it didn't
And
seem
I want
like
to be
two
clear, I told
hours.
myself one. I was very clear,
Yes.
1 hour.
You
But
did say that. You did
Mhm.
say that.
But I mean, it is what I can understand why it sometimes goes over because when you
Right,
have people
Great
that are
conversation.
very conversational, it just
right.
happens. But I want to thank you because I think aesthetically, you don't get necessarily the acknowledgement that I feel like you deserve because oftentimes many people they'll say, "Oh, that's a Julian piece. Oh, that's a Julian piece," right? And to me, that's when you have cemented your aesthetic. And
Right.
so I think that that is big because we can look at a Balenciaga bottom and know it's a Balenciaga bottom. You know,
Right.
there are certain things that you just know. So I just want to thank you for what you've done in the art of fashion. But even more than that, I think that you are just a great person of humanity
Mhm.
because my liking of you wasn't necessarily through fashion. It was through social media and your inserts in the comments. I've
Right.
always been into your comments. So I've always known that you were very aware and very woke, but I still saw your spirituality and the respect that you have. So I just want to thank you for what you've done in the
Well, thank
world
you.
of pageantry.
Well,
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. You know, it has to be beyond that pocket of our lives. You know,
Mhm.
I just think, and I know sometimes because I've had folks, as I've mentioned earlier when we talked about that, I'm not anti anything. I'm pro whatever, whatever. And folks say, well, you know, your business, you have to listen to that. Listen, whoever gonna come,
Yeah.
Come.
and whoever ain't gonna come, ain't gonna come.
No problem.
But if you know, this can't be about just this.
Mhm.
We are all on this earth for a reason, for something. There's something in all of us, I think. I don't care how small it is.
Mhm.
There's a contribution in all of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as, well, you know, that business thing, I can't, and I really don't care, you know. But it's about, I'm when you see me, I'm a black man first.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you see
So,
me, I'm a black man first. Before you even, when you see me a mile down the road, I need the other one. Uh, that's what you see, and then you get to see who we are, who I am, or whatever. Once you engage, but before anything, you making a decision based on this black man or that black woman or whatever. That's your first impression. So
Yeah.
anything after that, I don't care about nothing all that other stuff.
Absolutely.
You know?
listen,
Queen.
I wanted to ask this earlier before we do the nugget. I was curious because you know I'm all things enthralled with HBCU,
Yes.
and I was fortunately raised by a man of Omega Psi Phi. However, what made you choose Alpha Phi Alpha?
I'm a I'm gonna send you something personally, because someone sent it to me earlier, but it's a joke. But when I was we were uh because I was leaning toward Kappa.
Oh,
As far
okay.
as if I had to, that's where it would be. And
Uh-huh.
I was back then you were recruited. You was tapped.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You was tapped. And when it came down, I was told, nah, you ain't playing in Kappa. You are
They told you
you
what you was
yeah,
pledging.
yeah, this is where this is going to be. But that was because I guess, you know, when somebody, I guess, see something in you or whatever, whatever, whatever. But you know,
Okay.
that was in the olden days. We started with, there was 60 in the group. I was just telling my son who's about to pledge now, it was 60 of us that was narrowed down to 7.
Wow. See, that was back in them days. See, now
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
crossing
yeah, 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 yeah,
Those are
yeah,
good
yeah.
old days.
AKA
Yes, 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 yes,
Those are
yes.
good old
Ask me if I
days.
would do it again.
the
Nope.
good days. The good days.
Those
Those are
were the
good
good
old
days.
days.
So
But yeah,
before we ask you the nugget, we know we're going to see you at the end of the month. But do you care to tell us how many garments are coming across the stage from you?
I had 5 contestants.
Okay, 5 contestants.
I
All
have
right,
5.
perfect.
Now the number of garments, you know, sometimes people get multiple. They can't decide what they're gonna do this time. But I had 5 contestants.
Okay, gotcha. So five
That's
people
a
will wear
lot.
your garments. So we always end the show with asking our guests about a nugget, something that we can take with us when we wake up tomorrow, because we know you love to say that you're just blessed to wake up, but something that we can remember you by. It doesn't have to be pageant related, just something, a life lesson or something that you would like to leave us with so that it's the last thing, because we will do a recap once we remove you, but the last thing that we can remember from you on tonight's interview.
Well, I appreciate you all reaching out, and believe believe it or not, when Wendell reached out to me and he said, we've been trying to do such and such, I said, Wendell, let me think about it.
Mhm.
Right, Wendell?
Yes.
And so at that particular moment, you know who I called, right?
Oof.
Then Roger.
Oh,
I said, Roger, that you tell me what I should do. You think I don't know, because I've never. This is being in the background don't bother me.
Mhm.
I you ain't got to be up front, lead singer. That's not important to me. And he said, do it. He said, because you've been pretty much kind of for the same kind of reason you said. He said, you've been in this for a long time. There's a lot of stuff people don't know. All the things. I said, I don't know. I don't know. And then it just became, I think I mentioned it to Marco. And he said, of course, you should do it, that kind of a thing. Because this has never being on Front Street.
Mhm.
That's me being personal and private. That's always been
Right.
not being conscious of it, but that's just the basic nature of it. So you kind of elevated and moved me forward to a place that I've never done this before.
Oh, thank you.
So I can definitely appreciate you all,
Okay.
because I've never. This has never been a part of, as opposed with social media, and people seeing your face and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Done magazine interviews over the phone, but this has been something that was a first time, and I appreciate it. When I thank you all, I thank you, Wendell, for your kind words. I thank you, Trinity, for you all just being open to say we want to do that, and there's enough out there for everybody.
Yeah.
If the table is small, we can make the table bigger. There's
Mhm.
enough room here for everybody to eat. If you don't have a chair, sit on the floor. There's enough here for everybody, so there's no shade. And that's more than anything. If I had to, that's what I want for us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I want for us. There's enough. Enough here for everybody. There's enough here for everybody.
All right. We thank you so much, and we'll see
so
you
much.
at the end of the month, beginning of the month, because it goes into
goes into November
and stuff. And I'm more than sure that some folks gonna be winning them categories. But
well, if that's one thing we can't do, is we can't control what nobody else does. Because when you sit down there, sometimes as judge, sometimes it's about what actually shows up on stage,
you're right.
and sometimes it's about what don't show up on stage. Because I don't like her, and then you judge them accordingly.
That's true.
I'm not saying that's the right thing to do.
Right.
I'm just saying,
you're right.
Again, once they leave here, this space, they satisfied.
Okay. What's the y'all remember the movie Dirty Laundry when
I do.
She said, I hit my note. So what you say,
Julian?
I hit my note.
Right. I did my part.
I hit my note.
Absolutely. But again, I thank you all.
Thank you.
Again, you all took me to a place that I've never been to, and I can appreciate that.
All right.
Thank
We will
you so
see you.
much.
This will stay up, of course, for 30 days here and on YouTube. So thank you, Julian. Thank you, Roger and Marco, for talking.
And favorite son.
And
favorite
favorite son. All of that.
Yeah. He right here listening to you.
Thank you, other favorite son.
Anything we can do for you here on this platform, please reach out, Julian. We got you.
We'll do.
All right.
Love.
Love.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was good. Julian,
It was so refreshing.
Yes,
it was so refreshing.
We definitely have to. That's why we have to always get the people behind the scenes so we can understand process and their thought process of things. Because Julian, I did not know he had been doing this spanking.
That's iconic. Like
I met Julian like
I love it.
somewhere around there, and I honestly thought, okay, maybe he had just started.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just naive and ignorant of me.
But when we started doing this, we wanted icons and legends, right? And the reality is, he is an icon, but those unsongs, because we often
Erica said a couple of weeks ago, unsung, because I would have never thought spanking. Baby, you have curated that whole category.
You literally took them from linen suits to exquisite archived garments. Like
yes, because his
he
stuff
literally is a part of that.
And I love what you said about, because we know a JD.
Yes.
We know a Christina. And we literally know a Julian. Oh, that's Julian.
Yeah.
You know his stuff. So
you can look at it.
And I also like the fact that he's never we hear everything. I've never heard him in a bad light. Like, oh, he didn't have my garment, he took my money. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. Now I have
Nasty
heard one time. Maybe
attitude,
I should have said
nothing.
I have heard that he will enhance the look. Like if you go to him with something like me, I don't know fashion like that, so I have to be like Julian. Now, you gonna have to work this.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
why
what I
he ate
want to
at
look
me over
like.
there.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to make me look like Miss Jane Mansfield, but this where we
Yeah,
going. But I appreciate that. I appreciate those that talked it into it. You know,
absolutely.
we've had that before, girl. I didn't know if I wanted to come. I didn't know what y'all was gonna ask. But
He
shout
was
out to
very
his
open.
4 favorites.
Yeah. But I do, before we end, I do want to say that I hope that everyone understands that we have to learn how to navigate in purpose and not in panic. I think that we're living in a time where we feel like we have to do things a certain way because we want to make sure that we're not going to put ourselves in harm's way. But the reality is, we have to navigate in purpose. We can't be afraid to speak out. We just have to be mindful of the words we choose. We can't be afraid to be ourselves in public. We just have to make sure that we're respectful in what we do, but we cannot back down from societal norms. We have to stand up because that's how evolution happens. Nothing evolves if we all stay the same.
And with that being said, don't forget this Sunday is Mrs. Girl. Okay. Miss Baddest Bitch Plus and Mr. GQ at Large in Tampa, honoring Keziah Double D Dickerson as well as Jalen Bonet. You can reach out to Mulan or Amara about that. If you're in Tampa, please come out and see me. I will be there. The People's
Couple
National
of
Guard medal
weeks,
will be there.
universe.
You say what?
Couple of weeks, universe.
I won't be there,
Well,
but
okay,
I
a
will
couple of
be.
weeks, Monday night lip sync
Yeah, I
battle.
will be at Lips that Monday for Flames Green Party. The flyer just dropped with the entertainers. So you do have myself, Doree, Nicole, Saria, and Rico Chappelle, along with the battle zone for the guy and the girl. The song has not been implemented, but please make sure you getting your tickets off of Eventbrite because
Eventbrite.
there were only 170
I
and
need to
she's
get my
already sold
seat.
105.
I need
So
to get.
so we will be back next week with a doubleheader again, Monday and
It's gonna be a
Tuesday.
majority good show. It's a lip sync battle, so make sure you're there.
Well, I need to know who is not the majority. We'll talk.
What's
Because you
next?
done said that twice, and you know what? I do know. I know.
Cardi B
I had
said
to
it's
think about it.
forever.
I had to
Cardi B
think
said
about
it's
that.
forever.
What you say?
Cardi B said it's forever.
Oh, it's definitely forever. Forever. But yeah, you be for me, you be forever. But no, thank you all again for tuning in both nights. Again, this will stay up and YouTube it'll stay up forever here at Facebook for 30 days. We will drop some next week's guest. We will have he's definitely a talker, and she gonna try to be reserved because she on her way to compete somewhere. So I don't think she gonna you know how that go. But yeah, we look forward to that Monday and Tuesday of next week. Other than that, y'all, thank y'all so much, and make sure
Be
that you all
blessed.
are staying safe and vigilant out here in this world that we are in. And rest in peace, D'Angelo. Today that was so sad, wasn't it?
It
I feel sorry
was
for
so
his son
sad.
because he lost both his parents in one
In
year.
1 year, my God.
Yeah. So be safe,
Within
King,
six
this weekend
months.
over there at that
The
school
Texas Southern
homecoming
University,
over there at that
3100
school.
Cleburne Road.
Who are y'all
Absolutely.
playing?
I don't know.
That
We
means
we
you're probably
never
going to lose
we
if you don't
always
know
play
who's
a school
playing.
that we always play a school that we know we can beat for homecoming.
We played Valley, and Valley was winning at first, but
Oh,
we
but
ended
y'all
up
did
beating them.
win though, right?
We end up beating 45-24, but they were winning
Oh,
at
a good
first.
beat. That was a
I was
good
like,
beat
"What is
down.
y'all doing?" But yeah, okay. So we'll see y'all next week. Ciao.
Bye.